Thank you for joining us. This is Business Incorporated coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago. On the program today, KPMG South Africa CEO wants independent probe into firm. Zimbabwe to pay $1.8 billion in foreign arrears only when economy is stronger. Plus, Glencore strikes multi-year purchase deal with Angola LNG. We get started now with the market in Africa, and here the Nigerian stock market continued in the positive terrain, trading 0.07% at intraday. The JSE index, that's the market in South Africa, was down 0.15%. The market in Egypt is closed for the Islamic New Year holiday, while Kenya closed up 0.51% on Wednesday. In the Middle East, banking shares lifted the Saudi stock index slightly today, but Qatar's index cooled after it had risen for 2 straight days. The Riyadh index rose 0.2% after 20 minutes of trade, as 9 of the 12 listed banks rose after the U.S. Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged on Wednesday, but signaled it still expects one more increase by the end of the year. And looking at those numbers there, the index actually went up 0.29% at intraday. Most Gulf currencies are pegged to the dollar, and any monetary policy change in the United States is usually mimicked by Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and Qatar. A rate hike is considered positive for banks because it lifts their interest rate margins. Qatar's index was slightly up. It had risen 0.8% in the last 2 sessions. Banking shares were mixed, with Qatar International Islamic Bank up 0.6%, but Qatar National Bank down 0.2%. Stock markets in the United Arab Emirates, that's Abu Dhabi and Dubai, are closed for the Islamic New Year holiday. In Europe, markets were slightly higher in early trade after the Federal Reserve announced a plan to begin unwinding its balance sheet and signaled one more interest rate hike for this year. Let's see how this is driving the European market on this day. Daniel Coop joins me now. Hello, Daniel. I hope the chilly weather in Frankfurt is not affecting you so much.
Morning. My car was showing me 8 degrees. It really needs to get warmer again. Can you send some sunshine over?
Well, I pity you, Daniel. I hope you just get that sunshine that you need. Well, as widely expected, the U.S. Fed says it will start unwinding its financial stimulus program in October and likely hike fund rate in December. Now, some analysts say this could trigger a financial crisis. What are the expected reactions from the central bankers like the ECB, the Bank of England, the BOJ, and of course the Chinese?
Well, let's have a look first at the market here this morning in Frankfurt. I guess you can see it very well in the background that the market actually took the news off the Fed yesterday with actually very promising figures. We started with a big plus this morning. This was mostly because the dollar was for a long time again stronger, because we know when we have a very strong euro here in Frankfurt, this is usually harming the export business. But I guess you can see it now in the background. We have again another strengthen of the euro right now, and the blue chip index DAX is not performing anymore as strong. Let me have a look. We are right now with a plus of plus 0.3%. Of course, this news yesterday is affecting the trading day here in Frankfurt, and many people are wondering if the European Central Bank might do a similar decision in the future. We are hearing from the Fed that there are most likely going to be higher interest rates from December on, and that they are going to slow down their bond purchasing program. When you talk to experts, they are saying that they feel that this also at a point going to happen, but we know that Mario Draghi, the head of the European Central Bank, has been very careful with this, mostly also because of the inflation rate that we are still seeing here in Europe, a little bit too high. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting how this is going to unfold during the next weeks and months here in Europe.
Well, we'll just have to wait till December to actually see what is in the mind of Fed. Now, the M&A market seems to be really hot, with the U.S. T-Mobile looking to merge with Sprint, making parent company Telekom Deutschland very happy. Now, do you see customers across the Atlantic saying hello to this deal?
Well, the European cell phone market is a very competitive market. And when we remember when T-Mobile, which is the parent company of T-Mobile is Deutsche Telekom, the biggest telecommunication company in Germany, when T-Mobile United States started at the beginning, they really had a hard time and gave Deutsche Telekom lots of headache. Because the big problems that many carriers have in the United States is to have a system, of basically global coverage. And since the United States is so big, there were many parts of the country where T-Mobile just didn't have a good coverage. This changed. Now T-Mobile is actually number 3 on the US market with very good numbers that also Deutsche Telekom here in Germany is really much benefiting off. Now we are hearing that there might be this merger between T-Mobile United States and Sprint. Sprint is currently number 4 in the telecommunication market, and there's lots of uncertainty going on in the telecommunication market because Donald Trump's one of his best buddies is now the head of the authority that controls the entire market. He has announced that there are going to be big changes coming up. So from an investor's perspective, investors here in Frankfurt are telling me that this possible merger of T-Mobile United States with Sprint actually makes lots of sense.
And still in the corporate world, Lufthansa is looking to add up to 78 new planes to its fleet. Where is this German carrier going with more planes in the skies?
Yeah, we are getting these reports today. The final results, what really is going to happen with Air Berlin if, parts, will be taken over by Lufthansa, EasyJet or Condor. We are going to hear after the German election, which is taking place on Sunday. On Monday, we will know exactly what is going to happen. But yes, Lufthansa came out with a statement. For some people, surprising because experts were thinking that Lufthansa might also be interested in the long-haul fleet of Air Berlin. Now they announced that they just want to take over lots of short-haul flights. What's going to happen with those flights? Lufthansa has been very keen in the past to open their market and mostly to make their cheap version of Lufthansa, their low-cost carrier version of Lufthansa, which is called Eurowings, much bigger, because the fear of Lufthansa is when Air Berlin is pretty much gone from the market, that other low-cost carriers such as Ryanair or such as EasyJet, could make the German and European market even more competitive. So they really want to make sure that their low-cost brand Eurowings gets very strong. And for this brand, Lufthansa is going to need lots of airplanes, and it's a pretty much a very good deal because they can get those planes for really good and cheap money.
Right, Daniel, I just have to let you go now. We just have one day to say bye-bye to this week. So see you tomorrow.